Hi everyone, my name is Suzanne and I'm a Chinese metaphysics master in Hong Kong. Today I'm going to teach you how you can look at your Qimen Dunjia Destiny chart and identify the money blocks or financial blocks that continuously kind of stop you from either becoming wealthy or becoming financially secure or have a sense of financial freedom. And obviously, once you are aware of these money blocks or these blocks in your financial abilities, you can then work on resolving them. Now, the first thing for this you need to do is to actually plot your Qimen Dunjia Destiny chart. You can go to this URL and I will also post it in the notes to this video. And all you need to do is go there and plot your Qimen Dunjia Destiny chart. Now, for the Destiny chart, it is essential that you know your time of birth. Right? Without a time of birth, you will still get a chart, but it's not the correct chart. So it's really important that you know your time of birth as well. And what you then end up with is something like this chart that you see here on the screen. And yes, for those of you who have never seen a Qimen Dunjia Destiny chart, this looks super complicated and very, very complex, but don't worry, we don't really have to focus on everything. There are just a few components we need to look at. So the first thing you need to identify is your wealth palace or your wealth or your money palace. Yeah, all of these squares, they are called palaces. And the wealth palace is always where we have this, what we call life door. Yeah, this one here. You just look out, it's at the center. At the bottom center of each palace, you have what we call a door, and you just look at the one that says life, yeah, or sheng. There's also another way to identify the wealth palace. Usually there's a little label that says wealth. It always appears together with the life door. So that's all you need to do. First, identify where you have your wealth palace. Now, for this particular person, the wealth palace is in the east. E stands for east, but it may be here, that's southeast, or the south, or the southwest. It can be anywhere. It's never in the center, yeah, so definitely not, but it can be anywhere else. So identify where your life door is, your wealth palace, and then in the next step, we can then actually look at identifying what obstructs or what counters your wealth palace. Now, for this, you just refer to this table. So let's say that your wealth palace is in the north. Then the obstructing palaces are in the southwest and northeast. If your wealth palace is in the east, then your obstructing palaces are in the west and in the northwest. If your wealth palace is in the southeast, then your obstructing palaces are in the west and the northwest. And if your wealth palace is in the northwest, for example, then your obstructing palace is in the south. So some of you will have 2 obstructing palaces, and some of you will have only 1. Yeah, those who have only 1, you're the lucky one, because that means you only have 1 wealth block. All the other ones will have 2 things they need to work on. Yeah, so step number 1, identify the wealth palace. This is where either it says wealth in the label or it says life door. Yeah, and then you check which direction it is. Yeah, north, northeast, east, whichever one. It's one of these 8. And then you identify your obstruction palaces based on this table. All right, very, very simple. Once you know your obstruction palaces, you can completely forget about this. We are no longer looking at the wealth palace, because all we want to know is what obstructs you, what blocks you, what's hindering you from making money. Yeah, this is why the obstruction palaces are more important. But first, you need to know what is being obstructed. All right. Now, once you know your obstruction palaces, then you check. So here, the wealth palace is the east, and you can see here there are 2 obstruction palace, one in the west and one in the northwest. Once you know that, you check which door you have in the obstruction palaces. Yeah, in Qimen Dunjia, we call these things at the bottom center doors. Yeah, the rest of the components in the palaces, don't worry about them. Yeah, just look at the obstruction palace and what you have there at the bottom center. Here we've got the death door, and here we've got the fear door. So this person who has his or her wealth palace in the east is obstructed by the death door and by the fear door. All right, so check which one is your obstruction palace and which door do you have there. Each door will have a different meaning, and I will go through them, and that will help you hopefully become a little bit more aware of what you need to work on to remove those obstructions, because it's really all about awareness. Now, let's say you have the open door. Yeah, in this case, we have death door and fear door, so that doesn't apply. Let's say in one of those obstruction palace, you actually have the open door. This means that very likely you are in a job or in a career where you are not really maximizing your wealth. So it may be that you have a career where it's very difficult to grow your salary. You're kind of hitting a glass ceiling all the time, and the salary you receive may not really match your ability or your capabilities or your skill set. So in a case like this, when the open door obstructs your wealth palace, you should probably think about maybe starting your own business, owning your own business, because then you can set your own salary and you can increase your level of income, or at the very least, think about having a side gig. Now, this obviously does not have to happen right away or overnight, but see what you can do with your skill set to bring in more money that is not just coming through your employment. Yeah, because really for people who have the obstruction palace with the open door, they should own their own business. Yeah, they shouldn't really be employed. So there's also another aspect to this. So if you have the open door influencing or impacting your wealth palace, it also means that you shouldn't be dabbling in too many different investment opportunities. Yeah, focus on a few investments or just one, and you will see much better results. Yeah, don't spread yourself too thin. So that's for the open door. Now, let's say the rest door is countering or obstructing your wealth palace. Now, if it's the rest door, then in terms of salary, there's really no growth in income. Yeah, you do the same thing over and over and over again, and you do not maximize your growth, and you basically need to stop and do something completely different. Yeah, you cannot become complacent. You really need to look at what it is that you're doing right now and maybe find a completely different job. Yeah, a completely different direction. Not so much your own business, a different career path may be better suited for you. Something where you are not doing what you're doing right now. And with the rest door, what also plays a role is your family. Yeah? A lot of your money goes to family matters, or you're spending a lot of money on yourself, but mostly family matters. Maybe once you have money, there's suddenly a family emergency, or suddenly you have to give money to your children or something like that. There's always a family issue that you need to resolve financially. Yeah. So this could also play a role, and you need to maybe be a little bit more selfish and make sure that you pay yourself first. Now, then if the obstruction palace has the scenery door, then usually the blocks around money revolve around your reputation. Yeah, so you need to work more on your reputation and your branding. You need to sell yourself better, and then your income will grow. You know, very often we undersell ourselves, especially when we're looking for a job. We're so desperate to get that job that we're like, oh, whatever, you know, I'll just take whichever job. But if you sell yourself and you maybe brag a little bit about your achievements, then you can get a higher income, you can get a higher salary. So that's really what you need to focus on. Promote yourself. Yeah, even within a company, make sure that people are more aware of what you are actually contributing to the company, because you need to work on your reputation. Even if you're already hired, if you're already employed, you need to make sure that you have a really, really stellar reputation, that people know what you're doing and how good you are at what you're doing, and that will then bring you promotions, and with that, a salary increase. Now, if it's the harm door that is obstructing your wealth palace, then you are moving too much. Yeah, so maybe you're job hopping all the time and there's a lack of foundation, or there's no substance to what you're doing. Yeah, maybe there's no foundational skill set, because you start something, you do it for a little while without really learning the basics, and then you jump to something else and you do that for a while. So you do a lot of things and you know a lot of things superficially, but you're not really good at anything, because you don't do anything seriously enough. So that obviously at some point then creates a block in your career, and with that in your income level. So you need to start looking into getting a foundation, some foundational skill sets, and stop hopping from job to job. You really need to work on learning something from the inside out. And once you do, once you become more of an expert, you can command a higher salary or higher income. Then we've got the delusion door. So if the delusion door is obstructing or countering your wealth palace, then there's really a lack of planning. Yeah, so there's not a lot of financial planning going on. So get a financial planner. That's the easiest solution to that. Or maybe just an accountant or someone who manages your finances for you if you're not really that interested in doing that yourself. But really the biggest issue is that you don't really have a plan of where you want to be in a few years' time on a financial level. So implement a plan and then stick to it. The other thing with the delusion door is that there's very often a lack of mastery or a lack of a specialized skill set. So the more you specialize, the more you try to enter into a niche market or into a niche sort of skill or talent set, whether that's within your industry or within your company even, the more money you'll be able to earn, the more income you will be able to make. So try to specialize a little bit. See where there's a market gap, or even what does your company need? Maybe your department, maybe there's some special skill that is needed in your department that nobody has. And if you have that, first of all, you become unfireable, yeah? Secondly, you can demand a higher income, because without you, they'd be screwed, right? So there's two things: a lack of mastery of a particular skill set, but also a lack of financial planning. And then we've got the fear door. So like for this person here in this example, the fear door is one of the issues or one of the keys to financial blocks for this particular person. Now, if you have the fear door obstructing or countering your wealth palace, it means that you may be reluctant to take on more responsibility because you are afraid of the stress that comes with it. Yeah, so if you take on a bigger role, if you climb up the career ladder, obviously there will be more responsibility, there will be more stress, but you're fearful of that stress. You're fearful that you're maybe not good enough for the set of responsibilities that are being handed over to you, and therefore you will never go beyond where you are right now. So the moment you step away from that fear, and the moment you're open to taking on more responsibility, you will see more money. Yeah. So learn some problem-solving skills, and this will automatically help you solving stressful situations, but also taking on more responsibilities. Also, with the fear door, there's another thing. If you have the fear door, a lot of times these people, they don't like to invest. Yeah, they kind of just put the money in their bank account, in their savings account, and it just sits there and doesn't do much because they're too fearful of investing. And of course, if you don't know what you're doing when it comes to investment, that's definitely a risk. But ask someone, get a financial planner to help you with that, and you will be much, much, much safer. And obviously, it will also help you with your finances. And then lastly, we've got the death door. So also in this case, we've got both death door and fear door. Now, for death door people, they're very, very extreme. Yeah. So either they save all their money or they spend all their money. It's an all or nothing kind of approach to money. So neither of which is obviously very good in terms of accumulating enough money to eventually achieve a sense of financial freedom. Yeah. So either they put everything in one investment or they put nothing into investments at all. Whatever they're doing, there's no growth. There's only stagnation. Yeah. And so even on a more personal level, they kind of tend to stagnate because they get very, very comfortable at where they are, even in their company, in their position. Yeah, they don't really want to progress. They're not really that interested in anything new, and so therefore it's just stagnant. Yeah, hence the death door. So if you have that particular door in one of the obstruction palaces, you need to find a middle ground to that. Yeah, there's something in between all or nothing. And you also need to be a little bit more open to new things, trying new things, improving yourself, finding new ways to progress and actually growing, whether that's on a personal level or obviously on a financial level. And that will help you overcome financial blocks. All right. So this is how you can see this in a Qimen Dunjia chart, in a Qimen Dunjia Destiny chart. Have a look at what your chart says. And then once you have that awareness, you can then actively try to overcome these kind of blocks. It's all about changing your behavior and your views about money. All right. I hope you enjoyed this little lesson in Qimen Dunjia Destiny reading. If you have any questions, please get in touch with me. My contact details are in the notes below. And as always, I would love it if you liked, shared, commented, and subscribed to my channel to get the word out. See you soon.